Hi everyone, I'm Herman Armstrong, Executive Director of Restore St. Louis. Thank you for your prayers and partnership. Thank you for taking the time to watch these videos that display the goodness of the Lord through the ministries of RSL. We pray that you are abundantly blessed as you see what God is doing and continues to do through these ministries. Again, we're grateful for you. We're thankful for you. God bless.
A, the city needs Jesus more than anything else. And B, we as his people need to be in the city, loving and creating community and making opportunities for those who don't have it. The thing that I love about this place is that it gives people a sense of community. That in a time when the image of the church is dwindling in many of our communities, that our families know that they can come to the Freedom School and people care about them, what's happening to their families. You know, it usually takes them about 2 years to learn to trust us. You know, the first year they want to keep the business to themselves and let's see how those people are going to respond when I can't pay tuition for a month or two. But after the second year, it just kind of opens up and they understand that we're committed, that we're not just able to wrap our arms around them physically with food and clothing and counseling and recommendations of where to get a job and sometimes even cars that they need, but that we're also able to provide family. You know, I have 6 adult children now, my biological kids, but I have 60 families every year who are my children's age, right? So it's quite natural for me to work with them and to help teach them how to parent and how to work through this period unlike any other in our world history.
My name is Epiphany Pelk Milton, and I am the director of the Talisha Food Ministry. I think just liking helping people really helped prepare me for this role. So right now we have 10 different ministry partners, and we do just under 1,300 breakfasts and lunches, just under 600 dinners, and right under 300 snacks every week. So we have a kitchen staff of 3. We are a tiny staff. We do a big amount of work. What I learned about God through the process of being in Talisha, and even being the director of Talisha, is that what I have in mind for myself, the limits I put on myself, restraints I put on myself, that God doesn't have those same limits, and his thoughts aren't as small as mine. Becoming the director of Talisha has been a really big step. I feel like it's given, or it's made me feel like I have a lot of purpose, which is something that I struggled with just in life in general. So having this big position is a big responsibility, but I definitely feel like it's helped me feel like I'm doing a lot of good for a lot of people.
The mission of Workday is really twofold. We serve immigrants, refugees, widows, seniors, and anyone who's disabled. And so our job, first and foremost, is to love them well, is to hopefully build a relationship with them if they're willing to and want to, but it's also to just alleviate suffering in the moment. We are directly helping individuals in our community that are in need. I would say the hardest parts of it is really the relational building part of the ministry. And that means we want to actually build deep roots and build trust in a community and for a community that has been always kind of marginalized and put aside and oppressed, that trust is hard to build. We always kind of talk about we want to make the people we serve our best friends. Sometimes even for ourselves, that's really hard to do. There's age gaps, socioeconomic gaps, just cultural gaps, and really that's probably the hardest thing to do, that we actually want to build long-standing, deep relationships with them. And then secondary is to get them plugged into church. The other part of it is we actually serve a lot of volunteers. I like to say we like to give them purpose in a little bit of their lives, not that they don't anywhere else, but we provide an opportunity to do what they were created to do, which was to serve. And so we use that platform to also love and engage in that discipleship process with the people that come and serve with us and churches that kind of partner with us, that this is the call to Christian life and this is something we should be doing, loving our neighbors. I think it's untold the amount of joy that really kind of comes from that. And I don't mean happiness, because it's not always happy. I do mean the kind of biblical joy of fulfillment, of peace, of just knowing you did something good.
Our ministry is personal. We want to connect with people on a personal level. We want them to know that they're loved and they're cared for and that they're seen. And then we find out, what are your needs for your health? What's going on in your life that we can help you with? So we connect people to doctors, we take them to their appointments, and most of all, we advocate for them. We explain what's going on to them when they're confused. We explain to doctors when they're confused what's going on with our care receivers, and so that both sides understand what is happening so that people can have a good, solid basis to build their life on, health-wise. I'm thinking back on an older gentleman who was referred to us by Workday. They were building a ramp for him. And they said, oh, this gentleman is living in his kitchen in a wheelchair. And I said, what do you mean living in his kitchen in a wheelchair? This man was literally trapped in his kitchen in a wheelchair. He could not get out of his wheelchair. He could not sleep in his own bed. He could not access his restroom. And he was what we might call a curmudgeon. He was a little bit grumpy, but you know, you can kind of understand that. He had no family left, and we were his only people. We would come and visit him. We would cut his hair. We would clean under his refrigerator. We made appointments for him. We made sure he got back in touch with his doctor. We made sure that he could get back into his bed. We arranged for him to get a Hoyer lift for his bed and a hospital bed so that he could get back into his bed. Over the several years that we were visiting with him, you know, he expressed a very small desire that he might like to know more about the Lord and why we were coming to visit with him. So we started reading the Bible with him, so he knew why we were coming. We weren't coming because we were just nice people. We were coming because God called us to. And we know that he, even though he has gone on and he has left this earthly coil, we know that he knew, because of what we did and brought to him, he knew who Jesus was and why we were doing it. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel very happy to think that this person who was grumpy and felt that nobody loved him and nobody cared, we came in and we cared for him. We cared for his physical needs. We cared for his spiritual needs. And he came to know Jesus.
All people, all human beings are made in the image of God. They have emotion, they have intellect, they have will. So they deserve to be treated as full human beings simply because they draw breath. As Christians, we are relational. And so when we are able to go in and give value to people, to learn and call them by their names, to not call them by their inmate number, when we are able to give them a space where they can talk about hurt, where they can talk about pain, where they can talk about poor decisions that they've made. We do Bible studies, but we do a lot of faith-life integration. So we'll do the Bible and anger management. We'll talk about how to be a better parent. We'll talk about how to be a better partner, a better spouse in relationships. We'll talk about family dynamics. We discuss complex trauma. We discuss, I had a young man who talked about how he was getting his life together and then he had made a poor decision. His child had to go back to the mother. The mother's on drugs, and now the mother had the child taken away because of her drugs. So now he's not able to see his daughter. He's not able to talk to his daughter because she's in the custody of the state. But he had a space where he wasn't a criminal. He wasn't a bad person. He was a dad who couldn't talk to his daughter. That's relational. Relating to people is dignifying them, and we're able to build relationships and give dignity to people that they deserve.
The mission of Firm Foundation Tutoring is to reach children and youth from at-risk communities and to basically help them to grow and develop into the people who God has made them to be by pairing them with other people in relationship. And so through that context of relationship, helping them to live to their potential.
Missouri, nice.
I am so thankful for just the deep relationships that form between tutors and kids and families and the kids with each other, and just that sense of real relationship. We have a number of those relationships between tutors and children that stand out over the years. And there's a few tutors from Bonham who have been in relationship with their students for almost 20 years at this point, just living life together, just seeing that blessing of mutual relationship, not that it's one-sided, but that the tutors and no longer kids, the adults now, are just living life together and enjoying each other in friendship. I think it can be easy to think, that we're coming here to do good and to teach and all of those things, but often it's the other way around, that we're on the receiving end, and it's just, it's just great to see the Lord working in that way, to be willing to accept what He has to teach us through the children, quite honestly.
Our mission is that we work with at-risk youth, ages 12 to 18. Our goal is to teach them the masonry skill of tuck pointing. Our clients are the low-income homeowners in the city of St. Louis. They meet that low income requirement. We give them a free tuck pointing job on their home. That job is guaranteed for 50 years. We want to be a part of serving this community, giving our youth of the day, an alternative to, all the things that the culture cry out and calls out to them. There's so much violence and stuff going on, in the school system in these kids' lives. And these kids bring this, they bring these issues, they bring these situations, they bring these problems to Harambe. We had one of the young ladies that came with us last summer, and again, coming from, the system of violence and everything, and she has a testimony that she understands. We asked her, why do you want to be here at Harambe? She says, because we are family. You are family to us. I feel safe here. I can talk to the crew leaders here. I'm open. I'm vulnerable. I'm able to say, these things. And she understood that she wouldn't. I am not. She says, I am not judged here. God knows, nothing is too big for Him. There's no circumstance or situation that we're going to face. That's going to be too big for God. This is His ministry. This is not New City's ministry, you know. This is not RSL's ministry. This is not Jeffrey's ministry. This is God's ministry.
Friends, I hope you've been encouraged by these stories of God's goodness through RSL. Thank you for taking the time to walk alongside of us and explore all that God is doing through these ministries. We're grateful for you. We're thankful for your partnership and support. God bless.